Hello everyone, today in this video we'll be discussing the SAN super important questions and the solutions from the exam point of view, and this document can be found in the link in the description box. You can download it, and before starting make sure the like button, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Let's get started. So as you can see here, there are some questions here, and from the module 1 and module 2 there are numericals as well. I have made a separate video for a numerical, you can watch that. I'll not discuss numericals here. So that was about the numerical, and here what are the questions which are marked in the bold. Okay, the bold questions, those are the super important ones. Okay, and those are the most repeated ones. The other ones are just one or two times it have appeared. Okay, so let's get started. The first question, which is the what is data center, and this is the core components of data center. Explain the various characteristics of data center. By the name itself you can understand data center means you will be having a center in which all the data will be stored, a central location in which all the data will be stored. Then that is what is called the data center, and there are some core components of it which you'll have to discuss, and some characteristics are there. Okay, so let's have a look at that. What is the data structure infrastructure? This is given here, you can go through it. What are the key data elements? 5 are there: application, database, host or compute, network, and storage array. Application is the app in which you are running, or the software, whatever the thing you will be doing, it will be having a software, right? That is what is called application. Database is a temporary storage. Host or compute is where you are running that program. If you are running in your system, that is the local system. If you are running at a remote location, that is a remote location host. Okay, where that program is running, that is what is called host. Network is the transfer of the data. Storage array is the final storage where you will be storing the things. Okay, so by a diagram you can mention this one. Client is here, and this is the host or compute, and the final storage is in the storage array. In between you have the networking layer and the storage layer. Okay, and this is what is called the OS and DBMS here. And the key characteristics are the following: availability, security, scalability, performance, data integrity, capacity, and manageability. These all the self-explanatory terms you can write in your own words, right? Next we have discussed volume manager and compute virtualization in detail. Okay, what is volume manager? The data which is in the form of the bits and bytes, that is having a large volume. The managing the whole volume is called the volume manager. Compute virtualization means you'll be using the cloud computing or virtualization concept, where you will be running the things in the virtual environment or in the remote location. That is what is called the virtualization. Okay, and here the examples are given. What are the aspects of virtualization? Volume manager is a software component that allows to manage storage volumes. Big storages are there, right? That volume has to be managed. So volume manager does that. It includes disk partitions, logical volumes, RAID arrays, provides a layer of abstraction between physical storage and operating system. Okay, and it allows users to do the following, which is creation, resizing, delete, move, and without affecting the underlying hardware. So a few more functions are given here. Go through it. Next we have, with a need diagram, explain the evolution of storage architecture. So two things only you have to remember. Before, the storage was in the servers, now it has become in the central storage network. Okay, like the data centric, information centric storage, all the things will be stored in one cloud. Okay, that is what is the evolution. Just have to write a few key points regarding this. Okay, then we have what is protocol. Protocol means rules to be followed. Explain the protocol interface. A popular interface protocols used for host to storage communications. So this is a diagram, and host is present here, host adapter. This is the cable, this is the storage. So host interface is one of the three physical components of connectivity. Inside connectivity this comes, and inside those we have the first one, which is host interface device. Okay, so let's have a look at what is that. In host interface device, the protocols which are present is integrated device electronic, IDE, or advanced technology attachment, ATF, and small computer system interface, iSCSI, fiber channel, FC, internet protocol, IP. Okay, so these are the different protocols which are used. Okay, and the key points regarding them are given here, like the performance, scalability, host to traffic, and so on. Okay, you can go through it. Next we have discuss the process of mapping the user's file to the disk storage with a need diagram. The files are present. You will be writing some text document. You will be storing that. Okay, if that file is present, that has to be mapped where? To the disk storage, the final storage. It has to be mapped. How that following things happen, the steps are given here, and the diagram is given here. From the user, the file is generated. Many files form a file system. Many file systems form file system blocks, and that is mapped to LVM, logical extents. What is LVM? Logical volume manager. That is mapped to disk physical extents, and finally to disk sectors. This is the diagram you have to make, and these steps explain what's happening in the diagram. Basically, these things are stored here, and these kind of multiple things are stored here. These kind of multiple things are stored here, and so on till the disk sectors. Moving on to the module 2, we have what is RAID. Okay, RAID means reduced array of inexpensive disks. It is a way to store the data inexpensively. Okay, that is called as RAID. What are the RAID techniques and levels? Before that, they can also ask about the implementation methods. Two types of RAID methods implementation is there: hardware RAID and software RAID. In hardware RAID, you will be having a controller card, and in software RAID, you will be having some software. Okay, software-based solution. In RAID techniques, there are three: stripping, mirroring, and parity. Stripping means dividing them into different parts. Mirroring means making a replica of it. Parity means you'll be having one block which is referred for the parity, and it helps in solving the errors. Okay, that is the three RAID techniques, and RAID levels are as follows. RAID 0 has the stripped set with no fault tolerance. RAID 1 has disk mirroring. Nested means 1 plus 0 or 0 plus 1. Both they can ask. Okay. RAID 3 has the parallel access and dedicated parity disk. 4, 5, and 6 have independent disk but with dedicated, distributed, and dual distributed parity. Basically, the every next RAID level is better than the previous one. Okay. Explain in detail cache components of the intelligent storage system. So before cache components, we need to discuss how many components are there in intelligent storage system. There are 4 components: front end, cache, backend, and physical disk. This is the diagram in which you can see all those things. And here's the cache thing. In the cache, we have the structure of the cache. It consists of 2 things: data store and tag RAM. Okay, this is the data store and tag RAM. Here we have the cache present. All is mapped to the disks present here. And that was about the cache. Moving on, we have the need diagram. Explain the structure of read and write operation. The operation which is happening in the cache is 2 types: read and write. So what happens in read operation? You'll be getting a request to read something. It will be fetched from the memory. It will be read. Writing, you'll be sending a request to write something. It will be going to the memory. It will be writing. In read, there can be read hit or read miss. Read hit means it is already present in the cache. Read miss means it is not present in the cache. It has to be taken from the physical disk. So read request and read from disk will be happening here. Same goes for write as well. In write, we have the 2 things: write back cache and write through cache. Write back cache means you can write into the cache, then only you can perform the second operation. Write through cache means you will be doing the operations, you will be writing to the cache, and you will be performing the other operations simultaneously. Okay. That was about the cache. And the second question also they had asked here, different types of intelligence systems. Okay, it is not mentioned there, but different types of intelligence storage system they can ask. It is of 2 types: high-end storage and mid-range storage. It's basically based on how many users you make. If you are using too much, means a lot of operations, transactions happening, use high-end storage systems in which you will have both active. Otherwise, you can use mid-range where low transactions are there. It will be active passive. Okay. Moving on, we have the explain with the need diagram the components of fiber channels, storage area networks. Fiber channel is a high-speed network technology. It's basically a channel in which you can use to transfer the data from one part to the other part, and it's high-speed network technology. It runs on high-speed optical fiber cables, which is preferred for SAN connectivity, and serial copper cables. Okay, this is the basic introduction about the fiber channel chapter, right? And with the need diagram, explain the components. There are 5 components present here: node ports, cabling, connectors, interconnecting devices, and SAN management software. Okay, node ports are those in which through which you'll be doing the input-output operations. Cablings are nothing but the transfer of the data for which you will be using the cables. It can be 2 types: multi-mode fiber, in which multiple lines of light will be going; single mode fiber, only a single ray will be projected. Okay, and connectors are as follows: standard or lucent connector or straight tip connector. Interconnect device, you can use the hubs or switches or the directors for the interconnections. SAN management software manages the interfaces between host, interconnect device, and storage arrays. Basically, it handles the storage aspects. Moving on to module 3, we have with a need diagram explain iSCSI implementation with which are the different topologies present in that. So iSCSI is an IP-based protocol. In module 3, we will be basically discussing the networking protocols. So iSCSI is an IP-based protocol that establishes and manages connection between host and the storage. Okay, it manages the connection between host and the storage. It encapsulates the commands and the data into a packet and transports them using TCP/IP. So this is a brief information. Topologies, there are 2 types: native and bridged. So in native, we have the following: a direct connection is present in the native. In bridged, we have FCSAN and IP here. Okay, so FCSAN will be having a gateway present. So that is what is the difference between native connectivity and bridge connectivity. They can be mixed also, in which you will be having both FC and the bridged. Okay. What is NAS? Explain NAS implementation, components, and its benefits. NAS is an IP-based dedicated high-performance file sharing and storage device. Previous one was used for the connectivity. Here we will be having the dedicated high-performance file sharing and storage device. it is used for the clients where they share the files to the server over the IP network. So what are the components of NAS? Two components are there, mainly NAS head and NAS storage. Okay, NAS head includes the following. You can go through it: CPU, interface cards, and the other things. And for the components of NAS, we have the NAS device, which is all those things which I mentioned above: NFS, CIFS, NAS device, storage, and the interface. This whole yellow thing is called the NAS device. Okay, and it's connected to the clients present, like the Windows client or the Unix client. Okay, and the data is transferred using two protocols, CIFS and NFS, through IP. Okay, for more information, watch the theory video in which I have explained in detail regarding this. And what is the benefits of NAS? These are the following benefits. You can go through it. Implementation of NAS, there can be three implementations. It can be either unified, gateway, and scale out. Okay, so in unified, it consolidates NAS based and SAN based data with a unified storage platform. There will be just one platform. Gateway implementation uses external storage. Scale out uses multiple nodes. Okay, just one word you have to remember and write in one words. Next we have what is FCIP. Explain FCIP protocol stack. FCIP is fiber channel over IP. It is a protocol which is used to connect the distributed FC-SAN islands. Okay, FC-SAN islands are there, different FC-SAN islands, and between them the connection is made by using fiber channel over IP. It creates a virtual FC link over the existing IP. Whatever is the existing IP, it creates another virtual link about that. Okay, it encapsulates FC frames into IP packet and provides a disaster recovery solution. And this is the protocol stack. Here few layers are there: physical media, IP, TCP, FCIP, FCP, FCSI, and application layer. All these things, what are the commands you study in the computer network, same remains valid here. Okay, just a few concepts regarding FCIP is present here. Moving on to the module 4, we have business continuity. Explain the BC terminology in detail. So few terminologies are there which you can ask, like MTBF, RPO, and so on. Let's have a look at what are the most repeated questions. What is business continuity? Once a disaster happens in some company, the business still should continue. For the continuation of the business, the data has to be fetched from a backup location where you had stored before, right? That is called as business continuity. Okay, and business terminology: disaster recovery, the process of recovering from the disaster restart, restarting the system after the disaster, recovery point, what point you will be recovering and how much time it is required after an outage. The time objective is also the same thing: time within which the system and the application must be recovered. Data vault, a repository or a remote store where the data can be periodically or continuously copied, where all the data is stored basically. Hot site is a place where the restart happens or the backup storage happens and it's running at all times. Cold site is nothing but it will be not activated all the time. When it is shut down, then only it will be activated, like the backup things. Okay. And server clustering are groups of servers and other necessary things form a cluster, that is called as server clustering. So these were some of the important terminologies. Few more are there. We'll be discussing that in the upcoming questions. Discuss the different backup topologies. There are three different backup topologies. Here you have the backup server from which the data is fetched, and this is the backup client, and this is the backup device. Three things are there. If there is a direct connection, it is called as direct attached backup topology. If there is a storage network in between, storage node, see in previous one it was not there. If this is involved, it is called as LAN, and the transferring will be happening with the metadata with respect to LAN. And if it is the SAN based, we'll be having a storage network as well as FC-SAN in between. Okay, so those two things are not there in these two previous diagrams, this one and storage node. So that is the SAN based topology, and the mixed one is like all the things will be there. So LAN will be there, application backup will be there, FC-SAN will also be there, metadata will also be transferring here. Okay, that was the different topologies. Moving on, we have the BC planning lifecycle. 5 steps are there. What is the business continuity planning lifecycle? Establish the objectives, get the objectives, analyze them, and then design and develop the solution, implement the solution, train, test, assess, and maintain the solution. You can write in this form. For more information, watch the theory video. Explain the following terminologies: MTBF, RPO, MTTR, and RTO. Okay, MTBF means mean time between failures. RPO is recovery point objective. MTTR means mean time to repair, how much time is required to repair. RTO means recovery time objective, how much time is required to recover from the previous disaster or an outage. Okay. Describe the failure analysis in BC. Like there are two types of failure: single point failure and multiple point failure. To cope up with the single point failure, in this situation, if any of the system shuts down, the whole system will shut down because there is just one link. To cope up with this, you can have multiple links. You can configure redundant HBS, configuration of multiple storage system, RAID and hot spread, different types of RAID you can use. Implement redundant storage array at the remote site to mitigate the local site failure. Basically, make the redundant of each of these and make multiple paths. Two things are only there. Use multiple clients or multiple IP switches, multiple servers, multiple FC switch, multiple storage array, or use multiple paths. If one of the path fails, others will be there. Okay. Multipathing software is just discuss that there will be multiple paths in which you can do the things. Okay. Then moving on to the module 5, we have the list various uses of local replication. Here we have three things: local replication, remote replication, and last one which is securing infrastructure storage. Okay, let's have a look. What is local replication? Explain storage based and host based arrays with an E diagram. So what is local replicas? The replicas which are present in your own system, that is called as local replicas. What are the uses of local replicas? Alternative source for backup, fast recovery, decision support, testing platform, and data migration. There are three types of it: storage based, host based, and another one is there. So since they have asked about the storage and host based, let's focus on that. Here we have the LVM and file snapshot. Okay, two common methods for host based. Host based means there will be another host in which you will be storing the data. Okay, LVM is logical volume manager. It has the following concept, which uses the logical volumes to store the data. It also uses the logical blocks. In file system snapshot, we'll be using the pointer based replica, in which at what point you will be taking the snapshot, that much data at that point of time, that will be stored somewhere. Okay, so this is what the diagram, you have to draw this diagram. Next we have storage array based local replication. So in storage array, we'll be having a storage array here. It will have source and the replica. If there is no connection between source and replica, it will be just direct connection. Like from the BC host, it will be replica. From the production host, it will be source. If there is a connection in between those, read write will not happen from BC host. That is the differences between full volume ring, pointer based, and pointer based virtual replication. Okay. For more information, watch the theory video. In that, I have explained three of these in detail. Differentiate between synchronous and asynchronous based remote replication model. In synchronous, what we have, first, if we send the data to the source, and it will be stored to the target side. Whenever it is stored, after that only new data will be fetched. That is synchronous. In asynchronous, what happens, it will send the data, some things will happen here, and it will fetch the next data, and this will happen later on parallelly in the background, the storing to the target side. Okay, so this is asynchronous. And we have the next question, which is different storage infrastructure management activities. So securing the management access domain, where we have the management access domain, you have to make it more secure. You can do by following, like you can use secure shell, socket as secure socket layers, layer security, TLS, transport layer security, or you can control the administrative access, protecting data management infrastructure. By using those things, you can make the managements more secure. Okay. Totally, there are three things: are there application management and archive. Since they have asked about the management, I have discussed that here. Okay. So, but any of those they can ask, so make sure you know all those three very well. And what is network-based remote replication? In remote replication, we have three types: host-based, storage-based, and network-based. They have asked about the network-based. Let's have a look at that. In that, we'll be storing the data in some network remote location. Okay, so CDP remote replication is the thing here, which is the production volume, and here we'll be using SAN and WAN, and the remote storage is here. Connections are here. We'll be storing the data, and we'll be doing the write and read. All those things which are valid in the previous things of the storage array and the replicas, all will be valid here as well. Okay, so you can write the same concepts here also. Next is, what is risk triads and threats. Okay, risk triad is nothing but a term which defines the threats, assets, and vulnerabilities. What is the risk involved in these three? Okay, so assets is nothing but information. What is the risk involved in information? How can we make it more better? What are the security methods? And what is threat means potential attacks that can be carried out on an infrastructure IT. Okay. Vulnerability means which path is most insecure, that path you have to make it more secure. Okay, those three things are the part of risk triads. Next we have what are storage security domains. As I told you, there are three storage security domains: management, application, and backup and archive. Okay, these three domains have to be made more secure. The security rules are there for each of these. What are the things can be done? For more information, watch the theory video. Okay, so I've just mentioned the headings here. For securing the application access domain, the first one, we can control the user access to data, we can protect the storage infrastructure, and we can use data encryption. For the management, we can use the control administrative access and protecting management infrastructure. The last one, which is the secondary storage, we have the backup, replication, and archive. To make this domain more secure, we can use the following concept, which is like the different types of attack can be analyzed, and that can be made more secure by using protocols. Okay. Here few other things are there, like the Kerberos and the network firewalls. All those things I have discussed in the theory video. You can watch that. Okay. Next we have they have asked about the three things, which is the explain FCIP, NAS and IP-SAN. Let's have a look at that. What are the different aspects involved in this one? FCIP architecture, we have the basic security mechanism, which is the zoning. Okay, so all these things will be divided into different zones, and each zone will be doing some protection operation. Like security zone B will be having firewall, here we will have administrator, here we will have access control switch, host switch. So this will become more secure when the things are converted into zones, and each will be handled separately. So that was about the FCIP. And coming to NAS, we have the different protocols like file sharing, only ACLs, access control lists. We'll be having a list in which the people's name will be written who can access what files. Okay, that will make it more secure. And this is a diagram for it. We have the NAS file sharing Unix permissions. The permissions can be given to the users, group, or others. Based on that, they can access the files. Authentication authorization levels can be added here, which can make it more secure. And here only I told you, right, Kerberos and yeah, see here, Kerberos for the network security can also be added here, and other protocols can be added, which is present inside this NAS. Okay. Next, we have the IP-SAN. IP-SAN basically uses challenge handshake authentication protocol. Handshake means what? You send a request, from there also the acknowledgement comes, then you send the data, and the acknowledgement comes, like the data is received, then that will be 3 handshake protocol. Okay, like that only it happens. Initiates a login to the target, and the chat challenge is sent to the initiator, takes the shared value, returns the value, and then it matches the value, authentication acknowledged. Acknowledgement is being sent again. And finally, we have the last question, which is remote replication technologies. From an overview, what are the remote replication technologies available? First, you need to know about the modes of replication. Then we have the remote replication technologies. What are the mode of replication? 2 modes are there. Before also I told you, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous means you'll be directly writing to the site first, then you'll be doing the next operation. Whereas here you'll be writing to the source and carrying out the next operation. Whereas the writing to the target remote site will happen automatically in the background. Okay, there are the 2 modes of remote replication. Don't get confused. Modes is different, and replication technologies is different. Okay. For the different types of remote based replication technologies, we have host based, storage based, and network based. Host based, there are 2 types, LVM and log shipping. LVM will directly copy all the things which are present here in the whole volume to here. In the log shipping, will be sending all these things to a log, and that log will replicate this to the new device. Okay. And the next one, which is storage array based, it is having one thing which is disk buffered workflow. In disk buffered workflow, you'll have protection host here. From there, you will have storage source storage array, and to the target storage array, the data will be transferred, and the local replicas will be also considered in between. Along with local replica, you'll have remote replica as well. Okay. Moving on to the network based, which is the last one among the 3 remote replication technologies. CDP is the one which I already discussed. Also, this is the CDP here, and in CDP will be carrying out the write and read operation along with the protocols of SAN and WAN. Okay, that's all super important from the SAN. Make sure you like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.